Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 80s Parenting Podcast. I am Malinda, and I am here with my friend Heather. And a little bit about us, we've known each other for 42 years. It's a long time, Heather.
That is a long time. Feels like forever.
It feels like forever in a good way because I am awesome.
Okay.
I am a good friend. So we've told our stories, Heather.
hmm
We've told our 80s parenting fun and fabulous stories. If you want to go back and listen to the last 23 episodes. So we decided to change it up a little bit and talk about nostalgic things that we either did or listened to or watched or ate or any of those kind of things in the 80s and things that actually came out in the 80s that or were very popular in the 80s. We want to talk about that and throw in a little bit of what our parents thought about those things
Yeah.
on occasion. So, Heather, let's get started. So, Heather, a little background. We set up a spinning wheel of topics,
hmm
and we both came up with a list and we put them on the spinning wheel and we spun to win. And we each picked a topic that we researched, and we know each other's topics, but we don't know anything about them. I tell you what, when I started researching the one that I have, I was like, "Oh, really?" Like you don't in the moment know about these things because you're just using them or watching them or whatever,
hmm
and you don't really know the background, or you do when you got older and there was Google
Yeah.
or the internet, but there was nobody talked about like behind the scenes until maybe the DVD came out and there was the extra at the end.
hmm
So anyway, so without further ado, Heather, what do you have for me today?
So today we are going to be talking about cable TV channel Cinemax. Ooh.
Ooh, spicy.
Spicy, spicy.
Spicy,
Um,
spicy. As soon as you say it, I'm gonna make a comment.
uh-huh. So, Cinemax, if you're not familiar, was a pay cable network that originally only showed movies.
Mhm.
It launched on August 1st, 1980, so very appropriate for our time frame. It was launched by Time Warner, who also owned HBO, so it was always kind of dubbed HBO's little brother.
Mm.
It operated under the same roof as HBO since it began. And um, once they decided to kind of focus their audience, it was really all their content was really geared towards men. They decided that at some point they were going to start showing softcore porn from
There it
11
is.
p.m. to 2 a.m.
There it is.
And then it was known for several years as Skinemax, which I had no idea because I personally did not have Cinemax because my parents were anti-cable. Um, so when they started showing the adult content, they put it in a time slot that was dubbed Max After Dark.
Mm.
Ooh. And apparently they had the same actors and actresses and a lot of their like softcore porn that are, still popular with young men today.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Um, so the network execs in 2011 wanted to try to revamp the image of Cinemax and kind of get away from that softcore genre. So they started producing some television series, as I feel like every cable TV channel did at some point deviate from their original content.
Right.
Um, and they started to create TV shows. They did Their longest running TV show was actually called Strike Back. It premiered in August of 2011, and it was a partnership with who was it? Sky One production company, which is a British production company.
Mhm.
It would have been right up your alley because it was an action adventure spy drama where they went on high profile super secret missions.
So they did
Um,
just revamped that to
oh,
Strike,
did they?
and it's a British one, and actually J.K.
Mhm.
Rowling, what is it? Harry Potter lady.
Yeah.
She is it's was written under her pseudonym.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So anyway, see, I think it's CV Strike because it's like Corman Corman Strike, something like that. Or it's
Oh,
like a
okay.
really cool name. And they read it. It's really good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really good. There's a couple of seasons on it, but it's really
Oh,
interesting and it's really good.
nice. Okay. I might have to check it out. But that was their longest running TV show, and I think it ran for 8 seasons,
Wow.
if I recall correctly. But in 2020, the network dismantled to
Mm.
make room for what is now known as HBO Max.
Which is now just
Max.
Max. So
Now
kind of
just Max.
just Max. That's funny because it came like full circle. Like HBO was so popular
Mm.
for so long, and then it was HBO Max. And a lot of people don't know that it was Cinemax and HBO. Like I didn't know that it was his brother company.
Yeah, I didn't either. I
But
thought it was
now
a company.
thinking back, it makes sense because we did have cable, Heather.
You did.
We did. And we had HBO. And all of a sudden, we started getting more and more channels.
Uh-huh.
And probably Cinemax was just kind of thrown in there because one day we just had Cinemax. Although, no, they had to come out to the cable box and add it because it just wasn't automatic, kids.
Well, and I think for a long time, if I remember correctly, because I did eventually we got cable,
Yeah.
and HBO and Cinemax were always bundled together. So you had to
Oh,
pay a
okay.
premium, like an
Right.
extra price for it. So
Yeah.
when cable first came out, there were just like, I don't know, 20 or so odd basic channels. And then
Yeah.
you add the premium channels like HBO and
Yeah.
Showtime, and there didn't used to be a Disney Channel, but I think what was it? It was HBO, Showtime, and
MTV.
Cinemax. No,
MTV.
MTV was part of the basic.
It was.
Uh-huh. It
Oh.
was just movie channels that you paid extra for, I think.
Um, but that's the thing, right? You had to be wired for it.
Right.
There was no streaming.
No. No,
So
they had to come out to your cable box and like run that shit to your
run the
house.
wire to your house.
Yeah. And
Or
then
hook it up somehow. I'm sure one of my mom's customers gave it to her.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm
And
quite
it
sure.
was probably like HBO at the time was probably like $6 a month,
Mm.
but that was probably extremely expensive.
Yeah.
What is
I mean,
$6? What is $6 in 1980 in today's money?
I have no idea. Let me ask. Let me ask Google. Hold, please.
Probably like 15, maybe, I would guess.
$6
Hmm.
today.
So I remember Cinemax while you're looking that up. I remember that the Skinemax because it was like a taboo in our house.
Yeah.
Like you don't turn on that TV. So, Heather, when you're told as a child not to do something,
It's the first thing you do.
that's the first thing you do. And curious minds
Mm.
later on in our youth, because not in 1980, we were what, six? So,
No, we were 7.
seven, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So probably a couple of years later at the ripe old age of probably 10 or 11, I was like, what is that?
Yeah. Well, and I don't think you had cable because you didn't have cable when I first met you. So, which was
We
in
got it
81,
81. So we got
yeah,
it whenever MTV was available.
which was 1982. 1982, if I recall correctly.
1982. So it was like MTV and HBO because it was on TV, like ON on
Mm,
TV, and there was 2 clicks. So you could turn it on
yeah,
HBO or on MTV. And that was the first cable we ever had.
nice. You had that box and you had to slide
Yeah,
along to
slide it
get to the
around. And then I
channel.
remember we used to slide it really fast, and my mom would be like, "You guys are gonna break it." It was like a keyboard with a slide with numbers on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
And it was like do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And
So
you could
six,
feel it. It was sensory related. You could
well, yeah, because it had to like click into the little
feel,
thing for the channel.
but then it had to catch up if you went too fast. And everybody thought we were gonna blow up the earth.
So, $6 in 1980
Hmm.
would be $24 today.
Seems about how much it is now.
I ain't paying no $24 a month to watch movies. I'm sorry.
Well, the funny thing is now is they jump around so much. So
Yeah.
you might like it unless it's specific to that streaming platform. They
Mhm.
all jump around. So it's like 1 minute you can watch something on one channel and the next minute you're like, where did that go? And now
So,
you're
yeah.
buying another streaming service.
And I was trying to think of like a current day equivalent
Hmm.
to Cinemax.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of FX. Like,
Yeah.
do you have cable? No,
No,
when you
I
had
don't have
cable.
cable now. I mean, I
Okay.
have YouTube TV. That's like our local channels,
Yeah. So do you get FX at all?
probably.
Okay. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I feel like because that's where like Archer is, and I feel like they're always playing like the Mummy and the Harry Potter movies, and
Okay.
it's very like seems very guide driven
Okay. Oh,
type
really?
channel. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Have you ever watched Archer? It's actually pretty funny.
No, I have
It's a
not. I have not seen
cartoon.
that. But I do remember that. So back to my story about being kids, curious kids, we used to turn
Yes.
that on, Skinemax.
Skinemax? Yeah, no.
So it was like they only showed like boobs, you know,
Yeah, it wasn't like full on.
and bottoms, boobs and bottoms. They didn't show like full on frontal.
Yeah, no.
And I think, you know what's funny about that? I think that's like the first time I heard curse words on TV.
Really?
It was like damn or shit or something like that. It wasn't like the F dash dash or anything, but it was, I remember, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
they said a bad word. I mean, shut up was a bad word in my house, but they said a bad word on TV. I remember
Yeah.
thinking that too. So yeah, the curious minds. I don't know. I'll have to ask Adrian if he like snuck into our TV room at 1 o'clock in the morning and watched some Skinemax. And actually, no,
Watching
I
Skinemax.
won't. I'm not gonna ask him.
No.
No,
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know at all. But I do remember watching it, but it wasn't like the other channels where we had friends over and we
Mhm,
would watch it together.
mhm.
It wasn't that.
No.
So it was male driven and based for adults only. Like even their regular programming, I think would be more adult.
Yeah, because it was a lot of like action movies. It looks like it was like a lot of action movies and like comedies, like old Steve Martin and
Okay.
Eddie Murphy and all of that kind of
Well, I'm
stuff.
sure females watched it too,
Well,
but
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they
yeah,
did.
but geared towards
But it was
the
definitely the
dude.
programming was definitely geared towards dudes, especially from 11 to 2 a.m.
Oh, bleh.
I know. Oh God.
Ugh,
Ugh.
bizarre. Well, later on they made it worse.
Yeah, this
So,
is true. It only got worse from there. Then now look at what's on TV.
now you can find anything and everything, Heather, but it comes at a price.
Sure does.
So now everything is way more than
Yeah.
cable TV.
Yeah, really, when you add up your streaming services that you use, you
Mhm.
might as well have cable.
Yeah, but then you have to add on everything else.
Yeah, and then you get stuck watching stuff you don't really want to watch. With streaming, you can just kind of pick what you want to watch.
Yeah, I only watch two platforms, even though we have 20,000 of them, is Netflix and HBO, which is now Max. So there
Yeah,
we go, full circle.
there you go.
I'm still watching Cinemax.
Nice. I
That was
love
a
it.
great story. I learned a lot about things from your story, Heather. So that was
Good.
awesome. Great job.
We'll link the references for the well, one of them was Wikipedia, so there you go.
Gotta love support your local Wikipedia people.
Yeah,
Give
but
them $1. It's free content.
we'll link our references in the show notes. So if you want to take a peek at some more Cinemax,
Max.
Max, whatever interesting tidbits, they'll
Hey,
be there.
that's right. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Have a great week.